Welcome to the fun part of geometry, which is actual construction. So we're going to be using a compass, protractor, and a ruler to help us to create different types of triangles. Now these particular triangles, we don't have specific information as to what angles have to be. That's for another video that you'll watch after this one. But for an acute triangle, we need to know that all angles are less than 90 degrees. So in order to start with a triangle, we need to start out with a side. So you can use your ruler part of your protractor, or you can use a regular straight edge. But choose a length. I'm going to make mine 5 centimeters. So you always have to start with one side of your triangle. And then we know that the angles have to add up to 180 degrees, but they all need to be less than 90. So if we just thought about a couple of degrees for the angles, perhaps one would be 70, one could be 50, and 70 plus 50 is 120, and then that would leave 60 degrees for the other angle. So I just came up with 3 pretty easy ones to do on the protractor. So we start out by choosing one end point of the segment we already created and lining up the end point of the segment. And we want a 70-degree angle. So remember, I start always from 0, so I'm going to read the outside numbers. So I'll make this my 70-degree angle. So I'll put a little mark here at 70. And then I'm going to draw what I think is one side of the triangle. Now, in construction, you may have lapping, you may have extra marks, and that's okay. We normally don't erase those when we're doing constructions. So now my 70-degree angle is done. So from the other end of the segment, I can create either my 50 or my 60-degree angle. And I'll do the 50-degree angle. So this time, I'm looking at 0 is on the inside, so I'm going to read the inside numbers right to 50. So I'll make a mark there. And then if I connect that, then it will go through the line I already made. So that's the third vertex of my triangle right there. So I could call it triangle A, B, C. And also I can write in the degrees. My first angle was 70 degrees. This angle was 50 degrees. And if all went well, this angle should actually be 60 degrees. So if I decide to measure that, if we look right there, 60 degrees. So we did that correctly. So that is an acute triangle. A right triangle, since we're sticking with drawing a triangle by its angles, a right triangle, as you know, has to have one 90-degree angle. So that one's pretty easy to do because it doesn't matter the rest of the angles, what their measurements are. So I'm just going to start with a segment, and I'll pick one of the end points to begin, and I'll choose this one. And I know an angle has to be 90 degrees, so I'll make a mark up here at 90. And then I'll connect my side. Maybe I don't want to go all the way up to that mark. Maybe I want a smaller triangle. And then I just simply connect these two sides to create my third side. And I have a right triangle. So maybe let's call this X, Y, Z. And then an obtuse triangle, one obtuse angle, so one angle greater than 90 degrees. So again, that's a pretty easy one to do. All I need to do is start out with a segment again. And I moved it over here because I know I have to have an obtuse angle greater than 90, so my triangle is going to kind of come out here a little bit. So I'll just choose something that's greater than 90. So I'm reading the inside numbers because I'm starting here and I'm looking this way. So let's make it 120 degrees. So I'll just make a mark there. And create my second side. And then again, all I need to do is connect the endpoints of those two sides. And I have an obtuse triangle where one angle is greater than 90 degrees. So we'll call this triangle DE. So, an acute triangle, all three angles must be less than 90. So I just chose two angles that would add up to something that would give me my third angle less than 90 as well. So all three have to add up to 180 degrees. The right triangle, one 90-degree angle. The obtuse triangle, create one obtuse angle and then connect the ends of that angle and you have your triangle. Next we'll do triangle by the side. So this is where we're going to use our compass. And a compass is really easy to use and it's really handy and it makes things go very quickly. Equilateral triangle, all sides are congruent. So we'll pick a side that's pretty easy to do and it won't be too large. So I'm going to choose 5. So 5 centimeters from endpoint to endpoint. And then we take our and we use the point of the compass and the point of the pencil. And make sure your pencil's tight and make sure your pencil is even with the point of the compass or it'll be really awkward. That one's misbehaving a little bit. And then you open it up exactly the length of your original segment and make an arc like this on one side. And then turn your compass, put the point on the other end point, don't change the opening, and make another arc. Okay, so let's do that again. So you'll open up your compass, the length of the segment. You'll put the point of your compass on one end point and make a kind of a sweeping arc. You'll move over to the other end point, make another arc. Where these intersect is your third vertex of your triangle. So then you connect endpoints, and if you were accurate, if you measure it, there you go, 5 centimeters. 5 centimeters. 5 centimeters. So equilateral triangle, all sides congruent. 5 centimeters. And again, you could have picked to do 6 centimeters, 4 centimeters, anything that would fit on the page. An isosceles triangle has 2 congruent sides. So again, this one's pretty easy to do. I can pick a base. So let's say my base is maybe 4 centimeters. So the base is going to be the side that's not congruent to the other 2. Okay, so that's my base. And then I can choose another length for my sides. So maybe I want the other 2 sides to be 6 centimeters. So to do that, I'm going to open up my compass so that it's the size I want. So I want a 6 centimeter length. Okay, so these are for the 2 congruent sides. So now I'll go to the end point and I'll do the same thing I did for the equilateral triangle. I'll make a big arc like that. And then I'll go to the other end point. Again, never change the opening of your compass. And I'll make another arc. And there's my third vertex. So let's do that one more time. So I wanted to make an isosceles triangle, so 2 sides had to be congruent. So I chose them to be 6. Opened the compass up so that it was 6 centimeters. Started with one end point, made an arc, switched to the other end point without changing the size of my compass, and made another arc. And then I'll use my ruler, my straight edge, to connect these. So constructions can get a little messy. You have, you know, the arc markings and everything else, but when you leave this here, it shows me that you actually did use your compass like you were supposed to. So these are the 2 congruent sides. So that is your isosceles triangle. A scalene triangle is not too difficult. No congruent sides. So a scalene triangle, I can just pick some side lengths. So this one's maybe 5. And maybe this one's only 3. And this one will be a little bit smaller. So this side ended being about, let's say, 3.5. That side was maybe, that was 3. And this side was maybe just a little bit short of 5. So this is triangle. So no congruent sides. So that's how, in general, that you can construct specific types of triangles.